Hey everybody, it's Stuart Smith with smallcapvoice.com. Thanks for joining us here today. Once again, I'm joined by Demetrius Thurston, J Rab, and Kevin Gray from Supermassive Media. You can check them out at supermassive.media, and I'm with smallcapvoice.com. Check us all out on our social handles. I'm sure they're listed somewhere convenient for you. But today we want to talk about influencers. And I think we all know about the TikTok influencers, YouTube influencers. But of course, we've seen a lot of this in the past 2 to 3 years in the small and micro cap market space. And there's even bigger ones. I mean, quite honestly, we could look at Jim Cramer as one of the OG influencers with his Mad Money program. In the small and micro cap markets, I think recent history from my take is influencers have had a bumpy road. They had a huge impact. Then they became more and more regulated, having to disclose what their positions were, whether they were compensated by the company itself, which really watered down, of course, everything that they were saying. When we thought they were just saying this out of the goodness of their hearts, we really took what they said with a lot more weight. Nowadays, it seems like, for me anyways, Kevin, I do take everything with a grain of salt, but I know you've got a more positive take on this. What do you think, Kevin?
So yeah, I'm very pro influencer marketing, and I'm going to focus mainly from the company perspective here, because influencers definitely have their place in a marketing effort. You got to, of course, have this separation between a brand and an influencer, and an influencer could go off the rails and start doing their own thing. But realistically, reaching out and talking to some of these people is never a bad idea. Getting onto some of their shows, having a CEO sit down with some of these. We recently had a client on a great talk show, and they actually did a deeper dive than the original interview was supposed to do, and it gave our investors a very great look at everything. So yeah, I'm very on board with the concept of getting an influencer involved with a company, as long as they have a really good track record. We all know the horror stories. We all have seen the things like Atlas Trading and things like that. We need to be on the lookout for that type of stuff, but of course, there's red flags, just like everything else. So I say cautiously optimistic, if I were to put it into a small phrase.
Very good. Well, Jay, you also feel sort of optimistic as well, but you also want to point out that the communities are getting wise to some of the snake oil salesmen, that kind of approach. What is your take, Jay?
They're building up their own reputations. And so that there are certain influencers that like to just pump a stock. You have those that will instantly know that if they're going to pump it, they're going to dump it as well. And so it's going to be really quick. And then you have those influencers that I really like as the goodwill influencers, how I refer to them. Those are the ones that care about their own brand. They care about the stocks that they're talking about. And if they're not aligned with that stock, they won't represent it. And so those communities, and this is what marketers are looking for, is those communities will latch onto that influencer and follow that influencer because of that.
Good point. Demetrius, what are your thoughts on the topic?
So I agree really strongly with Kevin's opinion that broadening your reach as a company is just a very crucial asset and a very crucial strength. But it's very important to make sure that your influencer is on brand with your company. I mean, think back all the way to the Marlboro Man and just like picturing that. It's very on brand identity. While more of a logo, it's still there were actual Marlboro Men throughout history and used. Um, Additionally, it's really important to vet your influencer and make sure that they're going to be on brand with your company and throughout what they've posted before, how they align, making sure that they don't add any unnecessary risks associating with your brand, especially if they're going to be a reoccurring influencer. It's not a one-time gig, but overall, it's such a valuable asset to just expand your reach almost as fast as possible by just injecting a brand new audience.
And I think that's where a lot of us in the marketing space really love working with influencers, is because, and I mean, both Jay and Demetrius, they hit it. Brand equity. I've said it before on these, and I'm going to probably say it a million more times on them. That's what we do in the marketing world. We try to build brand equity, and at its purest form, that is an emotional connection between a brand and a buyer. Influencers are able to do that in ways that we as a brand, a company brand, a corporate brand can't do. It's impossible for a corporate brick and mortar company to have a persona that is so close to some person going crazy on YouTube or something like that. And that's why it's really an advantage. But again, there's some risks involved. So yeah, it really comes down to brand equity. And that's why I'm all for it. I think, damn the risks, just keep pushing through and mitigate them as they come.
Well, those are our thoughts on the topic of influencers, not only in the marketplace, but in the markets. We want to hear from you and your comments below. Give us the topic that we should discuss the next time we all get together with this massive brain trust of smallcapvoice.com and Supermassive Media. For Demetrius, Jay, and Kevin, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for watching.